Yo, what's up, man? It's your boy TUSKO to the day. Mr. Flow So Good, Matiba Totle, Mrs. Keeper Mawatwat. Y'all already know, but to back with you guys with yet another YouTube video. If you are new to the channel, always say this and I'm gonna say it again. Make sure to click that red button and do subscribe. Also making sure to click the bell next to that red button because that's what makes sure that YouTube does notify you every single time we upload a video. If you already subscribed, also make sure to shazam that bell, okay? If you don't do that, YouTube doesn't notify you. It's no longer about subscribers anymore, more about clicking the bell. Now, as a lot of you will already know, earlier this week I was the annual Castle Light Unlocks event, where basically it's an event that happens every year where Castle Light brings some of the biggest hip hop acts in the world, brings them over to South Africa, and I think a lot of other countries. I think they also have one in Mozambique and other countries, but they basically bring them over to the country and, you know, get them to headline the shows with other local acts from within that nation. And this year they brought in obviously McMill and Post Malone, and they had to perform alongside Rouge. I think Casper was also on the lineup, Nasty C was also on the lineup, and so on and so forth. Now, obviously this year they brought in Sway, who was there basically to have a cypher or a freestyle cypher very similar to what he has on his show in America, which is Sway in the Morning. He basically had these cyphers where SAMCs would basically come up and actually spit their voices on stage, and you had a lot of rappers come on there. You had Rouge come on there. There's a rapper, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name properly. Is it SPK or SPQuit? I'm not sure. But you had him also come up. You had AReece come up. You had J Molly come up. You also had Moosley come up. Now, a lot of you have asked me for my thoughts on the cyphers, basically asking me what I thought about the different cyphers and the different freestyles, who I thought had, you know, the best cypher. Some of you asking me about some shots that were fired during the cyphers. Some of you asked me about AReece, whether AReece took shots at Flame during the cypher. And I had a few people actually talk about Rouge and her verse and whether she was taking shots at MTV Bass during her cypher. Now, for the sake of being concise and also just the fact that I would have to do many videos to actually cover all of these topics that you guys asked me about, when I'm talking about the whole Sway thing, I'm just going to put it on this video, all my thoughts on it and what basically happened there. So I'm going to start off with who I thought actually had the best freestyle. Overall, I actually thought that every single rap that came out there was pretty decent. Shout out to everybody that came up on the cyphers. Of course, I'm not exactly sure of everybody who actually freestyled there. But from the ones that I've seen, I will say that J Molly actually surprised me. Like I said, I thought that was pretty dope. Moosley also came through. She did her thing. You had a rapper that I was aware of, but who's not necessarily, who's still basically more in the up and coming scene. SPK also did his thing. I thought his freestyle was dope. And then there was Rouge and also AReece. If you ask me who had the best freestyle over there, in my personal opinion, I must say that Rouge took it hands down. I don't know what's going on with them dudes, man, but you know, Rouge is killing this thing. Like she really murdered that whole cypher. She did her thing. Not to say that AReece did not also do well. I thought his verse was dope, but just listening to some of the bars that came out of there, maybe some of the stuff that AReece said flew over my head. I don't know, but and I'm gonna put a link to a freestyle basically in the description for those of y'all that do want to go check out the full freestyle. But I thought it was really dope. I thought it came out the best. I thought AReece's one for me took number 2. But either way, they all killed it, man. And then of course there's the part where Rouge actually came out and basically sounded as if she was confronting critics.
I don't need no validation from critics. I'm amazing. I don't need no validation from critics. I don't need to make an MC list to let me know I can script. I don't need a rapper to swallow to let me know I can spit. Basically saying she doesn't need critics, you know, to tell her that she can rap. She knows she can spit. She can swallow rappers. She doesn't have to spit. You guys saw the video that I played you. I will say that in my opinion, it did sound as if she was taking some shots at the MTV Bass Hottest MCs list. Because my thoughts are, if you look at what other list exists
in the country right now where people sit down and actually critique music and eventually come up with a list. The only thing that I could actually think about was obviously the MTV based Hottest MCs list. So the question of whether she took shots at them, it pretty much is what it is. She said what she said. I wouldn't necessarily interpret it fully as a shot. I'd interpret it as, you know, she basically just gave her opinion about the fact that whether they put her on or they don't, she doesn't really care. I'm not so sure why that is at this point. I think she's partly doing it maybe because later on in the year, you know, she's basically trying to tell them that, look, it doesn't matter where you guys rank me. I know that I'm probably better than, you know, most of the rappers that you guys put on the list, which is quite true. I think I've said this on some of my videos in the past. I think I said this when I was talking about the MTV based Hottest MCs list, where I said, if you're talking bar for bar, the Hottest MCs list should not necessarily be called the Hottest MCs list. It just should be called the Hottest Rappers list, because if you're talking bar for bar, the rappers that tend to rank higher on the list are not necessarily the most lyrical rappers that, you know, you have in the game. So that was her voicing out her thoughts on that. And then there was the part where AReece came out and said this, and people thought that, you know, he was taking shots at Flame.
Get him, Reece. I miss you, ain't no telling if we'll ever meet again. I never thought that it would be so hard to be your friend. Trying to talk, I'm even calling, you responding via text. Or we started trying to diss you, so I chose to disconnect. I did it for my inner peace, not for the internet. Takes a lot to know yourself and stand for something in the end. Broke down what we were building, left me here to reinvent. You lied about a lot, so you should rather keep it in. AReece the king.
So obviously the lines that people suspect were shots at Flame there are the last few lines that he actually drops, where he basically comes out and talks about the fact that he talks about this person who they are close friends with, who he's been calling, but, you know, he's only been texting back. And on top of him texting back, he thought that, you know, they were dissing each other, and he decided to disconnect. And, you know, towards the end, he talks about, you lied about a lot. So if I was you, I'd rather just keep it in. Basically, that whole thing that is being spoken about there fits Flame perfectly. You know, some people might argue that it might have not been him, but fits Flame perfectly. Some people might argue that it might not necessarily be so, but the description there fits Flame perfectly. They were friends, okay, and they were close friends. If you're talking about, you know, the dissing and the disconnecting, I don't know about other people, but I connected that line with obviously what AReece said on Careless, where he talks about he didn't say that because he was trying to diss. He was just saying that because he was trying to just vent on the song. And if you know what he spoke about on Careless, he basically goes at Flame for basically choosing a girl over their friendship. And then he talks about obviously the fact that you broke down what we created, which sounds to me like obviously we know that TWC broke up, and after it broke up, AReece seemed to start what they now term Rubber Band Gang, and Flame has what they call now a lean team. So basically, when you're reading into what he's saying, it's basically him talking about the fact that, you know, talking about his issues with Flame and basically going at him a little bit, because if you hear the last line, he talks about the fact that you lied about a lot, and he basically talks about something like you should just continue to keep quiet or keep it silent. And if you remember what happened when Flame and them disbanded from TWC, Flame basically came out on a lot of interviews and basically said he's not going to say anything about AReece. He's not going to say anything about the situation and so on and so forth. So it does sound to me that AReece is basically saying, look, man, maybe a lot of the stuff that you were saying, you lied about a lot of things. I don't know. It sounds to me like he's accusing him of lying during those interviews or saying some things that were not necessarily accurate. Or maybe during their relationship, he lied about a lot. But he's basically telling him, look, continue keeping silent. But the overall theme of everything that he's saying there seems to be, hopefully in the future, they could still settle it. Whether Flame can respond or not, the high likely chances are he won't. Basically because, first of all, he's not a lyricist like that. He's not necessarily as lyrical as AReece is. So I'm not so sure what exactly AReece is trying to achieve with all this firing at Flame. Possibly, he's just venting, like he said, even on the freestyle, where he talks about the fact that he's just trying to vent out how he feels, or he was not necessarily doing it for the internet, he's doing it for his own soul, or he basically expects some response. Don't know if that if we're ever gonna get that. Flame, even when MT was going at him, didn't seem to have the need to respond or the desire to respond. It seems like an overall very positive dude. But on top of that, I just even if the response comes, I don't know. I doubt it's gonna come. But even if it comes, I'm not expecting it to be as lyrical as what AReece would probably bring forth. And maybe that's what the warning to keep quiet and not say anything is actually about. I don't know. But y'all leave me your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the Culture Light Unlocks freestyles. Y'all let me know what did you guys think of all the freestyles that were there. Did some acts surprise you? I've said it on the video that I thought J Molly really surprised me. I didn't know it could rap like that. Who do you guys think had the best freestyle? And on top of that, what do you guys think of Rouge's words about critics and lists? Do you guys think that she was going at MTV base with that? Do you guys think that AReece came at Flame's throat on his particular cipher or his freestyle? Y'all guys leave me your comments and definitely subscribe. Awesome.